Now the first video of course will be for bronze to silver players. So let's get it started. When you very first start up the game, the first thing you want to do, you want to go into training and then go into free play. And the reason you want to be in free play is that you can edit your camera while actually seeing it. So you want to go into options. The first thing I would suggest changing is camera. Now, you'll have it on default, which will be that. And if you look, that's the default camera. So the first thing you want to do is you want to be taking off camera shake.
Really start to piss me off, lady.
And then I'm just going to show you the settings that I like to use. Obviously you can change the settings how you find best. But I would suggest getting used to some settings that are similar to this that I'm going to show you now. Because when you get to a higher rank, you'll be used to then playing it with these settings. So field of view, I go full 110. And because I like to see the whole field, like I like to see as much of the field as I can, because then it's easier to make decisions. I mean, even that isn't the worst camera setting in the world, just by changing that one thing. But there are a few other things that I would suggest changing. Distance, I'll keep to 270. Height, I'm only going to put that up to 110. Angle, I'll keep the same. Stiffness, I'll probably go down a little bit. Experiment with that and choose what you find is best for you. And then swivel speed, I like a high swivel speed, so I'm going to put that up to about 4.7. And then the very first thing you need to get used to is BallCam. And if you see, the default button is Y or triangle, and you just switch like that from BallCam. So if I turn away from the ball, that's without BallCam, and that's with BallCam. So without, with. And as you can see, it's much easier to hit the ball when you have BallCam on. And I would say there's not going to be many times you're going to want BallCam off. And if you get confused about if it's on or off, you can see in the bottom left hand corner of the screen, it says BallCam, press Y to toggle. So if I turn it off, BallCam disappears. If I turn it on, BallCam's there. Okay, now we're going to talk about controls. Now, it's incredibly difficult to say what the best controls are because everybody's different. You know, everybody plays games differently. So again, it does come down to personal preference, but I would say, you know, there's some good starting tips that will help you massively with selecting buttons. Steering sensitivity, aerial sensitivity, controller dead zone, dodge zone, they're all down to individual preference. Like, it really just depends on your controller, for example. So a good way to test your controller dead zone is if you go into training mode and you go to controller dead zone. Now if I put that right down, you see my car, like, I'm not turning, I'm not steering, the car is just steering on its own, and that's basically because my dead zone is too low. So look, it just steer on its own, and obviously you don't want that. You don't want that in game because you don't want the car doing something that you're not telling it to do. So if I now put that back up to 0.15, my car will no longer turn on its own. And that pretty much sums up what controller dead zone is. It's just the dead zone of your sticks on when you push them. So the higher your dead zone, the more you'll have to push the stick to turn. The lower your dead zone, the less you'll have to push it. So again, you know, mess around with that, find out what is best for you. Because like I say, every controller is going to be different. And dodge zone is when you dodge. So that is a dodge. Is if you go up for a aerial like that, if you find that you backflip a lot, then it might be, I'm not saying it is, it might be down to your dodge dead zone. If the dodge dead zone is really low, you might find you backflip a lot. So a simple way to correct that is just to put it up higher. I like quite a high dead zone, but again, you know, choose what's best for you. One other thing I will mention before we get into buttons is just the interface scale. I like to have it on 150, the nameplate scale. That just makes other people's names in game bigger, so I know where they are and I can see them better. Everybody uses different controls. I mean, if you take someone like Squishy, a pro player, and then you compare his controls to say Rizzo's, like they're really different. So selecting the buttons that are best for you is the most important thing. But I think there is a few suggestions I can make to start you off. Now, like most people, when I very first started playing Rocket League, I used the default buttons. And then I realised that a lot of people were using power slide and air roll on the LB button, or L1 if you're on PlayStation. And then a little later down the line, I ended up changing my boost to RB. And how I use my controller is I use my middle finger and my first finger on the acceleration and the boost. So if you can just imagine that, that makes it a hell of a lot easier to do this. So I can boost, I can accelerate, and I can drift all at the same time. And it's really easy to do with that button set. So give it a go, see what you think. I think if you're using default, I think it's best to change it to that earlier on. I know it's going to take some time to get used to. It probably took me about 3 days, to be honest. It didn't actually take me too long. But like I say, I did change one button and then months down the line ended up changing the boost button. But again, select what buttons are best for you, but that's just my recommendation. Okay, well I think that's enough about settings for now. Now I want to get on to what you can actually train when you're new to the game. You want to go into free play, because when you're new to the game, the thing you need to train is your hand-to-eye coordination. And the only way you can really do that is just by driving around and hitting the ball. And you will find that you'll miss a lot of the time. But with time and practice, you will get better and you'll be able to hit the ball more consistently. You know, and just do this until you just don't want to do it anymore. Don't put any pressure on yourself at this rank. It takes time, this game, to get good. But one thing you can do when you first start playing this game is you can have fun with it, you know? It's a fun game. Like, don't stress, just play it. And then you want to challenge yourself, so you want to try and hit it directly at the goal. So drive into the ball and you have to hit it directly like that at the goal. And try not to miss. You can then start implementing flips, so you can try and flip and hit the ball. You know, practice your flips, and how you do that is you just use the jump button with a direction. You can flip in all directions. One other thing you can do that I used to do when I very first started playing Rocket League is that you can play seasons. And it's just against bots, it's not online, so there's none of the stress of like having people stress at you because you're bad. You can play on Rookie, Pro or All-Star. I mean, if you find Rookie too easy, move up, and if you find All-Star too hard, move down. And I would suggest just playing seasons for a bit, just until you get used to the game and hitting the ball. In between doing that, there's other things you can do. You can do the aerial training packs that the game have designed. Now the thing I would say do is I would play casual. I guess Chaos could be fun, you know, one-on-one, if you want to become a one-on-one master. 1v1 can be quite stressful if you want to have a partner, play 2v2, or you got the classic 3v3, which is pretty much all I play. So I'm going to be ending these videos off with giving you something to train that I think you need to concentrate on the most at this rank. And when I look back now, when I very first started playing, I wish that I had concentrated more on dribbling. Being able to control the ball is such an important aspect to the game in every single game mode, and it's something you want to start working on early, so by the time you've climbed up the ranks, you're incredibly good at it. And I know dribbling is incredibly hard, but I actually have a video on slow-mo dribbling that's perfect for beginners and for all ranks or anybody that's trying to learn how to dribble. So I'm going to leave that link in the description. So make sure you go and check that out, because that is by far the easiest way to get good at dribbling. This is where I'm going to end the bronze to silver video, and the next video will be for gold players. So once you make it into gold, then make sure you come and check out that video. As always, it's been a pleasure. If this video helped you, then please hit that like button and subscribe if you're not already. But thanks for watching, and until next time.